Hello, and welcome to my lecture. Just kidding. It's a Schola school chat. Let's go check out this incredible school in Houston, Texas. Hey guys, it's Kayla from Schola. We're in Midtown Houston right now at A+, Unlimited Potential Charter School. Ready to go check it out? I know I am. So today I'm at A+UP. I'm with Kat McCorder, the principal here. Thank you so much for having us.
Oh, we're psyched to have you.
Yeah, so to get started, can you tell us really what is your mission here?
So A+UP exists to really help empower kids to become the heroes of their own story. We do that through building deep, meaningful, caring relationships with our scholars. And then because of that, we get to know them so well, we can custom fit an academic plan for every kid that maximizes their growth potential.
Yeah, and I love that you mentioned that they're being their heroes of their own story, because just talking to some of your students, that was something that they really highlighted, was that they feel like they were the leaders of their own learning.
Yeah, so it's a different model rather than it being prescriptive, teacher stands at the front and tells you what to learn. We want to empower our kids to be their own learner. So we call our teachers coaches, because the idea, a lot of times kids think about a teacher being someone that just tells them what to do. But the idea of a coach is someone who gets me ready to perform. And so our teacher's role, our coach's role, is to give the students the best practice possible, the best tools possible, so when it comes to the learning, they can feel like it's something they did.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. It's calling them coaches instead of teachers.
Yeah.
So what would you highlight as 3 things that really make this school unique?
We are kind of this cool little gem of a school hidden in the heart of the city. I think the first thing that's kind of our secret sauce is the depth of relationships that we get to build with our kids. With only 150 kids in the whole school, we get to know our scholars like I can't imagine they'd be known anywhere else. And that relationship empowers everything that we do. If kids know that their coaches, their principal cares deeply for them, then when we challenge them to go further than they've ever gone before, they respond because they know the person pushing them believes in them. So that relationship is kind of the foundation of everything we do here. And it's different to build those sorts of relationships with a middle schooler. Secondly, because we know our kids so well, we can custom fit their academic curriculum. Every kid is a unique learner. So they might be fantastic at one skill in science, but really struggle in a particular skill in math. Because we know we do a ton of assessment to figure exactly where our kids are in their learning, we custom fit a plan for every child. So if we got to dial back some of the rigor they're getting in their custom fit small groups for math, we can do that and then push them ahead. If they're really great in reading, we can dial up the intensity and push them ahead even further. And so that kind of custom fit approach for each kid helps meet them exactly where they are and maximize where they could be. So that's kind of the second thing. The third thing is kind of tied to that, and it's because we can custom fit for each kid, it really gets to max out where they can end up. So we are kind of this launch pad for high school. And, most middle schools are kind of those pass-through years, and they get real serious about college career readiness in high school. But we feel like the trajectory is already set for kids in middle school, and by the time they get to high school, it's just too late. So with having those custom fit coursework, we can push them further ahead and really max out who they can be in high school. So if a kid is really gifted in math, we're going to push them, and they're going to end up taking high school courses while they're here in middle school. If a kid might really struggle, we can catch them up on skills they missed, maybe because of COVID, and then we can push them ahead as well. And I think that kind of launch point idea, rather than just a pass-through time in middle school, really separates us for these critical 3 years in a kid's development.
Absolutely, and it really sounds like everything you're doing here goes back to that unlimited potential that you're talking about, making sure that every single student is able to reach where they need to be and where they really want to be as well.
Absolutely. It's we kind of say the drumbeat of our school if you could hear two things every day when you come in is you belong and you will grow.
I love that. So this is Lotus. She's an 8th grader here. So Lotus, can you tell me what is your favorite thing about A+UP?
My favorite thing about A+UP is how the teachers treat the students. They treat us like they're children, and they're really chill about the way that they discipline us, but they're also very strict, but not like too strict. Yeah,
I love that. So it sounds like you have a really great relationship with your coaches.
I definitely do.
Awesome. And I also know you're in 8th grade, so that means you're going to be transitioning to high school next year. So how do you feel like this school has really prepared you for that?
I think they've prepared us in a really good way. They always give us tests and benchmarks, and they do map testing, and they let us see where we are at in our learning, and we're always involved in everything.
Yeah, that's incredible. And I know that you mentioned that you're involved in some clubs here. Can you tell me what you're involved in?
I'm involved in student council. I'm the president with one of my other friends, and we just help the student body. We are advocates for the children, if they need help, if they're too nervous to talk to a coach. And yeah,
that's incredible. It's really awesome that you get to have that voice, in your learning experience and make it really what you want to be so that you can grow to your highest potential. It was such a blast getting to peek our heads into some of your classrooms and really see that teaching and learning style going on. But how would you describe it?
Yeah, so you can probably tell it's a little different than you would see in most middle schools. We see the learning experience being a partnership, and that's with students and their coaches, their teachers. It's not a teacher stands up and tells you what to do. We're working together to achieve an objective. And so you see that in our classrooms. Every student gets 2 reading and 2 math classes. It's a huge part of our day is kind of advancing and maximizing their growth like we talked about. We do that in our Reading Plus classroom and our Math Plus classroom. In those classes, every student in the building is getting small group attention. That can be one-on-one, sometimes it's as big as 1 to 3. You saw one of those small groups happening in class earlier, and every student rotates through a small group so they're getting the personal attention they need, and they're getting those custom fit resources to make sure if they have any learning gaps, that they're filling those, and if they have real giftings in those small groups, they can use those giftings to push them and launch them further ahead. So I think that's a really unique thing in a middle school, and you can't do that at a huge school, but you can do that level of individualization when you're a school this small and when you commit the resources to it. We have 2 teachers in almost every one of our classrooms because one teacher can be working with the class, another teacher's pulling a small group, and they can get through everybody in that class within a week is getting that small group help.
Yeah. And I know that you talked a little bit about that teaching and learning style extends even beyond the school day. What are some of those after-school programs that you have?
Oh man, so we have a full after-school program. We're here late. We go, if kids want to, they can stay here till 5:30. We have an hour's worth of targeted tutorials. And so that's kids that are identified by coaches that need an additional help in any of our courses, math, reading, science, social studies. They get pulled in for additional small group help for an hour after school. And kind of the enrichment activities, clubs that comes after that at 4:30 to 5:30 is kind of the hook to get kids to come to the tutorials. But we have so many awesome clubs. I mean, more than I could remember, and it's all student driven. If a student is interested in a field, then they can start a club. So we have a robotics club, we've got a cooking and culture club, and all those things. We have coaches that lead those activities, and it is a ton of fun. We have, I think it's probably 2/3 of our school stays after school, is here till 5:30, having a blast, doing these really fun activities.
Yeah, and I'm sure the students love that opportunity as well. So then I know you guys are super involved in the community. How would you describe this campus and that community connection?
Yeah, so I think, a lot of folks say they're kind of connected to the community, but our kids, they are out in the community all the time. So we have what we call mobile learning. The idea is that we are a school that is embedded in the most diverse city, and we're right here in the middle of Midtown. So we have all these incredible learning opportunities for kids all over the place. And so we don't try to bring these opportunities into our school. We want our kids to be out in their city. our students know their city, and we want them to see their learning not as tied to this building, because eventually they're going to leave this building. We don't want it to be seen as tied to a teacher, because eventually that teacher's probably not going to be a part of their life anymore. We want their learning to be tied to a community, because they'll always be a part of a community. And so our kids get off campus and they will get on the rail with their coaches. They'll get on public transportation. They go to our partnership with the Children's Museum, to their Makers Annex, building three-dimensional prosthetic hands with hydraulics. They do all kinds of cool stuff. We have a partnership with a boxing gym, and they go do training there and leadership development. We have partnerships with the downtown Telpson YMCA, and they do workouts with their personal trainers. So our kids know their city, and they see their city as a place to learn.
Yeah, I love that. And I know that when talking to the students, they were talking about these virtues, the O spices that they're learning. And it's really cool that they're taking the learning beyond the classroom and can implement those virtues into that community.
Yeah, we think that all those virtues aren't things that happen in isolation. They're things that empower you to be a community change agent. And we say all the time that we hope to foster better students and better people, so that when they go out into the community, they get to represent the very best this community has to offer, and we know that they're going to be the leaders of this community in a few years.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is Haley. She's an 8th grader here. So Haley, what would you say is your favorite part about A+UP?
Probably the size of the school. I really like how everybody knows everybody and nobody's a nobody.
I love that. Have you built a lot of your friendships here?
Yeah, everyone's very nice and kind to everybody else.
I love that. And since you're an 8th grader, you're going to be heading to high school next year. So how do you feel like you've been prepared for that?
Well, at this school, we do something called the O spices, which are our virtues, like ownership, perseverance, and stuff like that. But my favorite, perseverance and ownership, because there's really good things to know and to never give up and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I love the ownership, that it's really you are in charge of your learning and nobody else, so that you can make it whatever you want to be and make sure that you're growing.
Yeah.
So for any families who are interested in enrolling their middle schoolers here, where can they learn more information?
Everything you need to know is on our website. It's A+UP.org, and that's spelled out A+Plus, not the little plus sign. So
Perfect.
A+UP.org. You can find anything you want there. And we have tons of opportunities for families to make the decision that's a big deal for them, where they want to go to middle school. It's a huge decision. So we welcome families to come to a Future Phoenix night, where they get to tour the school, meet families, meet kids, and just ask all the questions they want to ask. They can also set up a time for a conversation with me personally. I sit down with 4 or 5 families a week to talk about our school, and I love doing that. I also host personal tours to take them around, show them the school, answer any questions they have. We also have what I set up for families. We call them heart-to-heart conversations. So if they would like to have just a conversation with one of our existing families, they can talk parent to parent, that heart-to-heart conversation, without somebody from the staff in the middle of it,
Right.
just to ask the questions that a parent wants to know and what their experience at A+UP has been. And so we set all those things up because we want parents to make what they feel like is the perfect decision for their kid, because these are the 3 most critical years in a kid's development, and you want to make the right call of where they're going to be fostered to become those kind of people.
Yeah, and it's so great that you have all those resources in place for families. And you can also go to Schola.com to learn more. I just want to thank you again so much for having us today.
Yeah, thank y'all for coming. It's been awesome.
Yeah. Well, it's lunchtime here, so that's a wrap on A+ and Limited Potential. Make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys at the next school.